you doing? I hope everything is well. Everything is good with me. I hope y'all enjoying this beautiful day. Yeah, I want to talk about a story that happened in Philly. I heard about it years ago because my cousin and them lived over there, and they had told me about it. Her name was Sandrea Williams. Um, it's been 6 years. This happened in 2018. 6 years, and they finally got one of the guys. I guess it was bothering him, so he turned himself in because they had the bowler out for him, like for real. They had a bowler out, so he must have just was like, you know what? Let me just turn myself in. But one of the guys is still on the run, so they still looking for him. I'm gonna read you the story. Y'all know I got my good old computer right here, but I'm gonna read y'all the story about Sandrea Williams. Okay, this happened in Philadelphia. A man was arrested earlier this week, and a second is wanted for the May 2018 murder of 17-year-old Sandrea Williams in West Philadelphia. According to the district attorney, Devin Bryan. Devin Bryan was one of the guys that had shot her. So let me just say this here. It was I don't really know anything about Philly. You know, like I said, my family lived there, but you know, I never went there or whatever like that. But they had two groups that was in these blocks, you know, this block and that block, and they came over there and they just started shooting. And you know, Sandrea happened to be one that was hit, and she passed away. But it was actually three people that had got shot, but the other two survived, thank God. You know, and I'm so sorry, you know, for Sandrea that she had her family had to go through this here. They was Jamaican too. The family was Jamaican. But anyway, we're gonna finish reading this here. Devin Devin Bryan turned himself in to the police Tuesday, in connection with Williams' killing. District Attorney Jeffrey Palmer said during the news conference Friday. Court documents shows Bryan had been charged with murder and related offenses. So he done did a lot, y'all. I'm gonna show y'all the video if y'all don't mind. I'll show y'all the video. It's the news conference so you can see her family, and I'm gonna show you a picture of Sandrea. She is so pretty, y'all. She is gorgeous, y'all. I'm just happy that this brother turned himself in because it was eating him up inside, or he was just tired of running. Because you got to remember, this happened in 2018, so he's a older guy now. You're not older, but he's in his like 28, 26, something like that there. So he probably got a kid or whatever. He just can't live no normal life knowing you done murdered somebody. So he probably ain't had no choice but to turn his behind in, because you're gonna keep loving for the rest of your life. Like, sooner or later they're gonna catch up with you, bro. But anyway, investigators are seeking a second man in the triple shooting. Because I told you 3 people had got shot. Triple shooting. His name is Salik White. Authorities plead for White, 26 years old, to turn himself in. Williams and 2 other teenagers, boys, was shot on Friday. So it was 2 guys that got shot and Sandrea. She had nothing to do with it, y'all. Nothing. She had nothing. She was an innocent bystander. Because she was ready to go to the military. I'm going to let y'all see the video. It's a news conference, if you don't mind. Excuse me. Okay. It was, okay. William and 2 other teenage boys were shot on Friday, May 11, 2018, in the 300 block of North Simpson Street, according to the police. Investigators claim 2 gunmen, now identified as Bryan and White, fired 23 shots. They was wilding, y'all. They was wild with Philly. Y'all already know how Philly get down. Philly ain't no joke. Philly gets down, y'all. Like, for real. Philly is... Listen, I ain't... Shout out to the Philly people. I ain't trying to say nothing, but y'all know Philly is... Y'all got a reputation, like, for real, y'all. Like, for real. Okay. They said 23 shots was shot into the group, and they said it was a group of kids. Like, Williams was fatally struck while she was standing in her own driveway with her 17-year-old friend. Police said a 15-year-old boy in the street was also shot. Both boys was injured in the shooting. Palmer said Friday the investigation believed the triple shooting stemmed from a feud between groups associated with 61st and Jefferson Street, and the other ranging from 60th and 64th Street. Tragically, we think, no, sorry, typically we think that this was just another incident and back and forth feuds between the two groups in West Philadelphia, Palmer said. Miss Williams had nothing to do with that group. Palmer said the group from the 61st and Jefferson believed the intended target was on the block when they opened fire. Tragically, it was Miss Williams that was killed. You see what I'm saying? They had no regard of, other people, standing outside. These people out here, these young people there, and I'm telling y'all, man, I don't even know what to call them. I'm serious. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what you call people like that. Just don't have no type of regards of if your mama standing there or if the little kids is right there. They don't even care. They just gonna shoot. And the whole thing is, they can't shoot. They can't even shoot. They shoot and they miss their target. And I feel that's you're a coward. To me, I'm gonna keep it 100. You are a coward because I feel if you're after somebody, you understand? I'm not for no violence. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm saying if you're gonna go out there and shoot up a block 23 times, shooting 23 times, and you don't see the person that you're looking for. You understand what I'm saying? Or if you did see the person that you're looking for, hey, get some balls. Walk up to the person and do what you need to do. But you ain't gonna do that. You gonna stand way back here like you Clint Eastwood and just start shooting inside, shoot up the whole damn block where you see everybody outside. What's that about? I don't get it. These guys is doing that like for real. To me, I just feel like some real weak behind stuff. I just feel it's weak. It's really weak. These guys these days here, I'ma be real. They ain't like our dudes when we grew up. Like for real, for real. They're not. They different. They're totally different. They totally different. When I say totally different, they're different. They're a different type of species. They cut from a different cloth. Like for real. Because when you don't have, you can sit out there and act like you tough and the whole nine, but when it come down to you wanting to confront, because you're not throwing no hands, that ain't gonna even happen. Because if you throw hands, it'll be a miracle if you don't come back with a gun, like with a pow pow. It's just unbelievable. It's like you just can't take that L. You know what I'm saying? Like these young boys can't take L's. Like for real, they can't. They just can't take an L. They can't. Their L is the pow pow. Your pow pow is your it's your. It's like walking. You ever notice? This is what I noticed. Guys that have pit bulls or bully dogs or whatever like that. When you see them without their dog, they on a different level. They just be like, yo, what's up? How you doing? Or whatever like this. But as soon as they got their dog with them, they different. They walk different. They got attitude. You be like, now you only acting this way because you got your pit or you got your bully with you. You know what I'm saying? Your bully dog with you. I've seen that in guys. And I actually see guys where I live at that has bully dogs. And literally, the other day, I'm not going to get off the subject. I'll tell y'all that another time. But I just be doing too much. Okay, let's finish reading this here. It just be getting me mad because, you know what I'm saying? These here young guys have so much to say. They say it in their drill music. You understand? They say it in their drill music. But when it comes up to when it comes down to confronting who you need to confront, it's always a drive-by or something like that. You never confront them like face to face. It's not going to happen. It just doesn't happen that way. It's not. They different. Like I said, they come from a different cloth. It's a mess. It's a mess. To me, it's coward. It's like a coward. It's like a coward. But anyway, William. They said I told you William was not the talk. She was not the target. Police said it said 2008 that Williams was shot and killed walking away from her steps. Walks away from her steps when she was sitting with her mom. Police said the investigation took 6 years. I'm good for them, man. I'm telling you, I'm glad they didn't stop. Like, this make me feel good inside. But there wasn't any one piece of evidence that would solve the cold case. He cited evidence as well as electronically forensic, like cell phones and social media. And I'm gonna show y'all the video. But like I said, y'all, like these guys is different. You know what I'm saying? Guys and girls, they different. You know what I'm saying? Girls, they do be fighting. You know what I'm saying? They be fighting, but now, so I don't know what the big thing is now, where they want to bring knives. You know what I'm saying? Now they bringing knives to the fight. Like what is in these children that you so mad that you hate? You literally have to hate a person to want to knife them or to pow them. Like, it ain't even that. Sometimes it don't even be that serious. It's just be something that you probably said over the internet. You know what I'm saying? Something small you said over the internet, and they take it to heart to where they have no thick. They don't have, their skin is too thin. They don't have thick skin. They don't know how to go, psh, please, child. They don't do that. They take it to heart and be like, oh, when I see that person, I'm going to pow them. I'm going to knife them. For what? Over word? It's words. It's words, people. It's words. It's not that serious, y'all. Like, it's just a damn shame, y'all. But anyway, oh, I'm so happy for her family, but I'm sorry for their loss. You know what I'm saying? And Devin White turned herself in, so they looking for one more person. And I want to show you a picture of her. I'm gonna show you the video. She is so gorgeous, y'all. She is a gem, you know. But she's in heaven now. God got her. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna show you the video right here. So as y'all watch the video, can y'all just, like, you know, click down, and of course nothing, y'all, hit that like button and subscribe. Alright, y'all, wait for the video because I'm about to show it to you.
Is it Naish?
Yes.
Why don't you take my spot? All right, is everybody ready? Thank you all for being here. In a few moments, you're going to get some details on an arrest and charging in relation to a case that was unsolved for about 6 years. First, though, I want to acknowledge some of the good people who are here, and then we will get right to it. We have with us today Naisha Roden, that's Naisha Rhoden, who is the aunt of Sandrea Williams. Sandrea Williams was the victim of the homicide that we are here to talk about. And her name is spelled S-A-N as in no, S-A-N-D-R-E-A Williams, the usual way. We also have with us Nadia Williams, that's N-A-D-I-A, friend of the family. We have with us Mayor Sherelle Parker, First Deputy Police Commissioner John Stanford. We have ADA Jeff Palmer, who has been instrumental in this multi-year investigation and will be prosecuting this case. We have Charlotte Monticelli, who's a victim witness coordinator with the Homicide Non-Fatal Shooting Unit. In a moment, Mr. Palmer is going to speak. After that, we will hear from First Deputy Stanford, Mayor Parker, and also then we will hear from family members of Sandrea Williams. But let me just say this. Cold case. We had a conversation earlier with Councilmember Curtis Jones, who is very interested in this case and very interested in everything else that happens in the area he represents. And he said to us, cold case? What do you mean a cold case? This is about how every case is a hot case. Every case that we are still trying to solve, every mystery that we haven't yet cracked. That's a hot case, that's not a cold case. And this case itself, I think, is quite an example of what is in fact years of work, not just to solve this case, but always with this case in the back of mind. This is an example of an investigation that covered, if I understand it correctly, and we will hear from Jeff Palmer, 66 shootings, 28 murders, and the whole time that investigation was going on, this case was back of mind, and this case was something for 5 years that people in the Philadelphia Police Department worked diligently to solve, and people in this DA's office worked diligently to solve. Everybody, I hope you'll listen when this family talks about the phone call they got a few days after the 6th anniversary. Imagine that. Imagine that call. Well, we need more calls like that. Even though they're on a very difficult topic, we need more phone calls like that. And this is part of the reason that we are having very constructive, very positive conversations with the police commissioner, with all of our partners, about having a robust cold case unit where we can work together with all of our law enforcement partners. It's not okay to look back at a history, and a history before this administration, but to look back at a history of 10,000 shootings of a certain category where only 2,000 were solved. We need to remember that every cold case is a hot case. Every cold case is a case that can be solved. Sometimes it will be with the forensics that we're hoping to see, and sometimes it will just be with a whole lot of people who care, doing a lot of hard work for a long time, which is more what this particular case is about. It is my pleasure at this time to call forward first ADA Jeff Palmer to talk about the case itself.
Thank you, District Attorney Krasner, and thank you everyone for being here today. And I especially want to thank some detectives from the Philadelphia Police Department that never forgot about Miss Williams. Francis Mullen, James Brady, Dave Ganone, and Robert Daly, who with many other members of the police department and detectives took an all-hands-on-deck approach towards this case and have not forgotten Miss Williams and have been working in hopes of one day standing before you to announce the arrest that we're now here to announce. Because on May 11th of 2018, Sandrea Williams was tragically murdered on the 300 block of North Simpson. 2 other teenage residents of this city were also shot and thankfully survived in the same incident because Devin Bryant and Salik White made the decision to bring 2 illegal firearms to that block that day and tragically end her life. what has been an unimaginable loss for her family, but also a loss for this city, to learn about Miss Williams and her desire to join our military, especially to me as a veteran of the Marine Corps, and know what that has taken away from our city and from our country, and just the unimaginable loss. It makes me very happy to be able to announce that the 6 years of work that all of these detectives and myself have put into that has come to this today. And as a message to other people of Philadelphia, if your loved one has been shot, if your loved one has been killed, we have not forgotten about you. We have not forgotten about your loved one. We are working every day to solve each and every case, and we will not stop. And if you're somebody who's thinking about picking up a gun to commit one of these heinous crimes, if you have committed one of these heinous crimes, we have not forgotten about you either. And the next knock on your door might be the Philadelphia Police Department or the U.S. Marshals Service, and we may be here announcing your arrest next. So put down the guns. Make contributions to our city that we need from you and from all young people. Because otherwise, you will be arrested, you will be brought to justice, and there will be a resolution to your case that is appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. I know that there will be more questions for him when we get to Q&A. But first, it is my pleasure to call forward First Deputy Police Commissioner John Stanford, who I think in many ways has exemplified, personified the One Philly ethic, and was even doing it shortly before our mayor took office. He has always been a good partner, a good colleague of this office, and we're delighted that he is here.
Thank you, Mr. DA. It's days like today is the reason that we do this job, and this particular investigation is one that's a little bit closer and more personal than others. I was the captain of the 19th district when Sandrea was murdered, and I remember in the days and weeks after we did prayer vigils with family, as well as some of our political leaders and neighbors in that area, just trying to be a means of support for the family and to wrap our arms around them and just to let them know that we were there for them at that time. But to be here 6 years later and to know it's due to the diligent work of detectives like Frank Mullen and others that work in our homicide division, working alongside with the members of the district attorney's office to bring the individuals to justice that were responsible for this. It's days like today that are so meaningful for us, and I know so meaningful for the family. It doesn't undo the tragedy of that day, of that night, but it is something that brings some level of closure, hopefully, to the family, brings some level of closure to the people in that community that still, hold on to that memory from 6 years ago. And again, it's just happy to be at this moment today, and hopefully this brings some also level of closure where Sandrea could rest in peace, knowing that the individuals have been brought to, well, the one has been brought into custody, and the other, we're working diligently to get into custody. And so just thank you for the collaborative work, as the district attorney first alluded to, and just glad that we were able to bring this to the family today. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioners. Now my great pleasure to invite Mayor Sherelle Parker to come forward and say a few words here. There's a lot of talk about One Philly, there's a lot of talk about intergovernmental collaboration. Well, that talk is real. That is going on. That is real. There is a new energy. There is a new type of innovation happening in the city. I'm delighted to play whatever role I can in supporting that. And this is just one more example. Here's a situation where this development came up very quickly, had to be announced in a certain way, and there was almost no time for the mayor to be here, but she's here. She's here. Mayor Parker.
Nadia and Naisha, District Attorney Larry Krasner called me to let me know that the collaborative partnership between our Philadelphia Police Department, along with the District Attorney's Office, along with the outstanding men and women who work in the forensics unit, along with the homicide detectives. Thank you so very much, Assistant ADA Palmer, for saying those names out loud, because we get here because of the hard work, the tenacity to duty, to ensure that we continue our pursuit to bring some much needed balance to the scales of justice here in the city of Philadelphia, no matter how long it takes. I said when we were in the back talking to Naisha and Nadira that Sandrea Williams, Philadelphia, shot and killed on West Philadelphia Street in May of 2018. There is nothing that this city can say and or do to remove that tragic, real life lived experience that Naisha, you as the aunt, who reminds me of aunts in my family who were aunt mother, who helped to raise Sandrea. There is nothing we can say or do to remove the sense of pain that you have felt and we feel naturally when we lose someone. But 6 years later, the district attorney's office, Philadelphia Police Department, men and women whose faces, who are not in front of the camera, whose names you don't know, you don't see them regularly, they never came up. They never forgot. They never forgot Sandrea. No one is forgotten in our city. This is important, Philadelphia, for you to know. Every homicide, every shooting involves a human being. That means a mother, father, sister, or brother, or in this case, a daughter, a niece. My message to the city of Philadelphia is that every single person matters to us. That if your loved one, if you or someone you know is a victim of gun violence, we will not rest until justice is delivered and justice is served. I wish I could have met you as mayor of this city under other circumstances, but to be here on the day when your family gets delivered a message that, quite frankly, there's so many other Philadelphians who have lost loved ones to gun violence, and as the district attorney referenced, many of those cases have not been solved. But today, this affirmation gives a glimmer of hope to those people and those families that their loved ones are not forgotten, and that we will do everything that we possibly can to ensure that justice is served here in the city of Philadelphia. Thank you for your time.
Thank you kindly, Mayor Parker. It is now my pleasure to introduce Naisha Roden, who is the aunt of Sandrea Williams. Standing with her as Ms. Roden speaks will be Nadia Williams, a friend of the family.
So I'm here to say God and time equals justice. Bob Marley once says, anything that happens in the dark must come to light. To my family, it's been 6 years, 6 long years, but our tears and our prayers brought us to this day. I just want to thank the Philadelphia Police Department and everyone involved. They never forgot about Sandrea. We missed many birthdays. We missed the graduations, but we will always keep her memories alive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for those comments. All right, we'll start. We'll make sure we get to everyone, but I'll start with Dan Snyder, 3 CBS. Any questions?
At some point, I did lose hope. I lost hope, but within this the faith that I have, I knew one day we will get answers to our questions. And the question that I have is why.
Anything else on this topic, Mr. Snyder?
I guess to her point, do we have a motive for this shooting?
Yes. So, tragically, we think that this was yet another incident in a back and forth feud between two warring groups in West Philadelphia. Miss Williams has nothing to do with those groups, which is what makes this so unfortunate. We believe that members of a group that associates with 61st and Jefferson Street was feuding with a group that at the time went by Oda to 4, which ranges from 60th to 64th Street in Callow Hill, that 61st and Jefferson believed that members of that group who they were targeting were present on the block that day and came there to shoot those individuals. And tragically, it was Miss Williams that was killed.
All right, John Paul, 6ABC.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you doing this, and I just had to ask, the DA referenced the phone call.
Yes.
Can you walk us through that phone call and just your thoughts, just the moments, what you were thinking, and what was said on that phone?
So my sister got the phone call. So she called me, and on May 11th was the 6-year anniversary. So we did a memorial each year. My sister knew that it was getting closer. So when she called me, it was like the night that Sandrea died. That same tone, that same scream. It was a sigh of relief at this point.
Anything else, Mr. Paul?
Yeah, because you talked about the suspects in this case, you had the information, you mentioned the name.
Yes, Mr.
And
Palmer.
one was still wanted, and there was one arrested. Talk to us about that.
Can you just repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, can you tell us about the suspects in this case? And,
Sure.
I know you said one has been arrested, but still one wanted, and also too many on their criminal background.
Sure. So Devin Bryant is in custody. He's being held without bail in our local jail. He turned himself in on Tuesday. The fugitive is Salik White. And I would encourage anyone who may know about Mr. White's whereabouts to provide that information to the homicide unit of the Philadelphia Police Department. And I would also say, if you are Mr. White, turn yourself in, because we're going to find you and you're going to be brought to State Road, and you should turn yourself in. But anybody who knows where he is should also provide information. In terms of their criminal background, I'm not really at liberty to reveal that information right now.
Can you tell us if there was new information that came to light, and you say he turned himself in, so you obviously had to put something out, you knew you may have been involved with this. Can you talk about that information that turned this case around?
Sure. So what I can say is, is there one piece of evidence that we got that said now is the time? No. Frankly, this was just a product of great detective work, exactly how you think of detective work. A little bit here, a little bit there. We have some ballistic information. We have some electronic forensics through cell phones, through social media. And, other sources of information that detectives were able to tap into. But no, it was a very piecemeal, painstaking, nonstop investigation for 6 years, which, I mentioned 4 detectives, but it would be impossible to name all of the people that have worked on this. We'd have to, we'd all be here past 5 p.m. because this was just really good old-fashioned detective work, everybody playing a small but very important role in a big investigation.
Thank you. J.R. Smith, 10 NBC. Any question? No question. All right, thank you. Steve Keeley, 29.
Mr. District Attorney, I have a question for you as well, but I want to ask grandmother at their
Yes.
called.
Yes.
We just had the city commissioner lose his nephew for gun violence, 16. What goes through your mind since 2018 every time you see a young person with a big future snuffed out because of gun violence? And also, I wanted to know, were they juveniles when they committed this crime as well? What goes through your mind when you see the news? Not a week goes by where I don't think we cover a vigil and a believer these days.
So at first, when is it going to stop? What can we do to reduce the number of crime that happens in the city of Philadelphia? So, 17 years old, 16 years old with a whole bright future ahead of them, how can we prevent this? So,
What was your dream? And I know we talked to you way back then. Talk about what you did.
Sandrea wanted to join the military. So my brother joined the military and she wanted to follow my brother's footsteps. She had hopes. I would say she's my mom's retirement in terms of she's gonna make a life to take care of my mom, which is her grandmom. Sandra grew up in Jamaica, so she have that Jamaican culture instilled in her. My mom takes care of her. It's her responsibility to take care of her mom. The best way to do that is to join the military. So she joins the military, walk in my brother's footsteps, she could get her dream accomplished. So since she wasn't able to do that, my daughter, in which they grew up together in Jamaica, had no interest of joining the military, decided to join the military in her honor. So about 2 weeks ago, she graduated. And when I watched her walk across that stage with Sandrea's picture on top of her hat, I just wish it was her instead of my daughter.
Thank you for that. In just a second, I'm going to call Pat Loeb from KYW. Oh, did you have another question? I'm sorry, Mr. Keelan.
The age of the two suspects when this crime happened.
Devin Bryant, right, who is incarcerated, was 20 when this happened. I do not have specific information on the fugitive, but we can try to get that to you. Right before I call on the next person, who is Pat Loeb from KYW, I do want to stress, though, a couple things. Number one, you heard 02 to 4. Some of you might remember that many months ago, I tried to communicate as best as I could with people who might not watch the nightly news, but who might be getting their news from their cell phones, more specifically young people. And I did so by saying something that has been mentioned to me many times by people on the street, which is I said 02 to 4 is going to go to the jail. And then a while later, when there was a big bust and 02 to 4 was mostly dismantled, we said, well, actually, it happened. 02 to 4 went to the jail. Well, the story there of these feuding groups and the shootings and homicides they committed is a story about trauma. It's obviously a story about this trauma, but it's also a story about trauma in certain locations, including the very block where this occurred and during a certain time period. And I'm going to ask Mr. Palmer just to give you a little bit of context for that.
When we were in the thick of this investigation, I think one moment that really drives home what we've been trying to say here today about One Philadelphia was actually, I was with Councilmember Curtis Jones about something completely unrelated, and he knew that I was assigned to these West Philadelphia group violence investigations, and he pulled me aside, and he specifically wanted to ask me about the 300 block of North Simpson Street. And he wanted to know, you know, I'm hearing from my constituents, what's going on with that block? Are we looking at that block? And I was, you know, and that was not a catalyst to this investigation, because the catalyst was the incident actually happening. And we were already investigating, and due to the nature of the investigation, we couldn't necessarily release details, but, you know, it was a moment to be able to look at him and say, we know about that block. We're looking into that block. We are arresting the people who have targeted that block. And we have, because this is unfortunately one of several incidents that has happened on that block, including on 200 North Simpson, just one block away. A few years after Miss Williams was murdered, a 6-year-old boy, Zamar Jones, was tragically killed as well. Mr. Bryant's brother, Deshaun Packer, is currently in state prison for a non-fatal shooting that he committed on this block. And I think that drives home, too, the strengths of these investigations. A lot of the individuals that have targeted this block, some of them have pled guilty. Some of them decided they wanted to go to trial, like Mr. Packer, and he was convicted. He was found guilty by a jury of Philadelphians. And these are strong investigations, and these are winnable cases, and they will get the appropriate result when they get into court. And, you know, the DA talked about Ota to 4 being dismantled. Well, the 61st and Jefferson group that they were fighting has also equally been dismantled. But we're still here solving these cases, charging the individuals who have perpetuated this violence. But, you know, these groups, they're ceasing to exist as groups that can cause more harm to our great people in Philadelphia.
All right, Pat Loeb, KYW.
So Sandrea lived in Philadelphia. She went to Jamaica for 5 years. So she came back from Jamaica at the age of 5. She lived between West Philadelphia and Mount Airy.
Sure. Devin Bryant is charged with 1 count of first-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, multiple violations of the Uniform Firearms Act, possession of an instrument of crime, 2 counts of simple assault, and recklessly endangering another person. Yes, there has been an arrest in that case, thankfully.
So do you feel like any other unsolved murders will be solved
The good news is a number of them have been solved. There have been arrests. Those that are unsolved, you know, as I've said, will never stop, and we certainly hope that everything we do leads to the closing of yet another case, but we'll always continue to work to solve those cases. Well, I can't speak to the nature of any open investigations, unfortunately.
All right, Sherry Stone. It's good to see you on this peaceful day, by the way. No question? No, not at this time. All right. Well, thank you very much, and I want the family in particular to know how grateful we are that they were able to be here. And also, I want to make sure that the mayor understands how grateful we are that when something this important, this monumental happens, that will keep hope going among those who may be worried that the case will never be solved. How grateful we